the PING G430 Driver. I believe this is the best driver PING have ever made, and in this video we're going to be looking at the reasons why. First thing I want to talk about is sound. Listen to this. Now, you could have argued that the G425 that PING brought out 2 years ago was quite possibly one of their best drivers ever released, but for me personally, I just felt like the sound off the face of the PING G425 was just way too loud. Let me show you. For me, the noise difference between these two drivers, I think PING have absolutely nailed it with now the G430. That tonk noise, that ping, massive loud bang off the face of the old G425 just really kind of put me off, even though performance-wise, looks-wise, it was a great looking driver, performed really, really well. Lots of big players using it in their golf bag. Well, I think they've probably listened to those guys. They probably listened to those tour players, got some feedback from them and actually just dulled down that acoustics from now the G430. So PING offering a slightly stiffer crown in this G430 and then internal ribs to just try and control that sound that comes out of it when you hit the shot. So the ribs are built internally in this driver and they're at the bottom, the sole of the driver, so you're not going to actually see what they're doing. Whereas if you look at the top of this driver, and this is where I think it's kind of a thing of beauty, you've got the turbulators for aerodynamics. That's been on drivers with PING for a number of years now, but it's this kind of new design at the back here which kind of draw your eyes in to almost that leading edge there. Where a lot of drivers have like a little logo on top of their driver, PING don't have that, but that new sort of design allows you to kind of frame that ball up nicely, almost like drawing it into the front of that driver. For me, that's why I really like the look of this driver. Little tiny bit of lipstick around the back of the driver, sort of heel and toe area. But all in all, I think they've absolutely nailed it. Just that little bit of kind of matte finish on top, but also shining a little bit just to really brighten it up when you look down onto that golf ball. But it's the face as the story, being 6% thinner for this driver. Again, the idea is to try and create maybe just that little bit more flexing in the face to try and generate as much ball speed as they possibly can. Now, it might sound like not a lot, and to be honest, it isn't a lot. 0.1 of an inch we've gone shallower in the face of this driver, and to be fair, from a looks point of view, when I look at the face of this driver, let's say in comparison to let's say the 425, it does look slightly shallower. But what they've done is lower down the face is they've now got what would be 9 degrees kind of in the center of this driver with being a 9-degree driver. As they go lower in the face, you generally see roll and bulge with drivers. As they go lower in the face, they're taking a little less loft off. So we've got 8 degrees at the bottom edge. Now PING's idea with that sort of 8 degree of loft at the bottom is to try and reduce the amount of spin that we get out of the driver and to maintain good ball speed off the face with those kind of lower strikes. Now remember, in this video we're testing out the Max model. There's 2 other models in this range. You've got the low spin version, the LST, and you've also got the sort of more spinnier, more controllable version maybe in the SF Tech, which for those players out there that tend to move the ball from left to right with a little bit of fade, that driver might be able to help you as well. But just like the G425, we've got this CG tracker on the back here, enabling fitters just to dial in those numbers just that little bit easier by pushing that weight into different positions, allowing your CG position just to move fractionally to help get that ball to target. So I think that's it from the tech point of view of what PING are telling us. Let's now look at some of the numbers that I'm getting with this driver. So looking at the numbers of this driver, I've actually gone through a bit of a fitting process myself. And if we start off in the 9 degree, so this is absolutely standard on the driver, I've got an average ball speed of 153.4, launching it at 16.3, so potentially just a fraction high in the launch. Average spin of 2,600 revs, peaking out 45 yards high with an average carry of 259. If I compare that now to a more lofted version, so same head, I've just adjusted it into plus 1.5 degrees of loft, 151.9 ball speed off the face. So I'm losing now ball speed by having that loft just a little bit up. Launch wise though, my launch is actually at 16 degrees. Now remember, as I've lofted that club up, that location of where I'm striking it might just go lower in the face because that leading edge is wanting to rise up, therefore the launch staying pretty much the same. However, spin, and we talked about spin with this driver, but spin there at 3,399, 3.4 on an average in revs, peaking out 47 yards high, and then my massive drop off because of that spin and that lower ball speed at 241 yards on an average in the carry. However, I've now taken that driver and I've de-lofted it. I've taken it down by 1.5 degrees in loft. If we look at ball speed, 155, shaking up at 156 miles per hour off the face, which is a lot quicker than I'm getting out of the other two settings. Launch wise at 15.5, so again very, very similar to what I'm getting out of the other two positions. Again, pushing that face forward might just push my strike location a little higher in the face, which is where it's a little bit more lofty, therefore hitting it, getting it up, the launch up a bit higher. Spin though, spin 2,599 revs, so very, very similar to what I'm getting out of the standard 9 degree area. Peaking out 44 yards high with an average carry of 263. So by just changing that loft for me, I've just got my launch out there a little lower. I've got my ball speed up and got it out there just a little bit further. But the big thing for me when it came to moving the face around, as in the different lofts, was how that driver kind of set up and looked for me. Now, when I had this driver set up in its standard position, it looks beautiful down by the ball. It's absolutely square. I don't have to manipulate the face at all to get it set up to how I like it. However, when it was set up in the kind of lofted version, it definitely looked a little bit more toed in, and therefore you could see from some of my numbers I got that ball going a little bit left on me. However, when I de-lofted it, then it opened it up, and my first two shots with that driver was it just went straight right on me. I couldn't control it. I had to set up with that driver, just feel like I was towing it in slightly just to get control on that. So for me, that's possibly one of the negatives, but that's not the head. That's the actual sleeve with this driver. So if I'm looking at a driver and I want it set for me, I may have to move into either a different loft or a completely different model, maybe looking at the LST version. But for me, I think Ping have absolutely nailed this driver, getting fantastic ball speed, getting great numbers out of it. The manipulation of the shaft is a negative, and it's something that I think that all companies now need to start looking at when it comes to their sleeves. Is there other options out there? We talk a lot about the technologies in these drivers, but what can we do with the sleeves? Can we improve those even more moving forward? I'd like to hear what you think about that down in the comments, but also what do you think about the G430 driver? Is it a driver that you could look at putting in your golf bag? Don't forget, if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all again on the next video.